it's Jessie V, and today we're going to be continuing our nostalgia series talking about Chatty Cathy. Now, this doll came out in 1959, so I know that a lot of you may never have heard of her, but trust me, she was super popular and had some really creepy things surrounding her. And I mean, any doll that talks will do that. Before we get started though, you guys know the drill. If you would like to win the background behind me, all you have to do is be subscribed to this channel, so my Jessie V channel, turn on your notification bell, and then head over to my Instagram page, follow me there, and DM me the color your scales would be if you were a mermaid. Alright, so Chatty Cathy was said to be the world's most famous talking doll. So let's get into some of her history. This groundbreaking doll was created in 1959 and could speak 11 phrases when you pulled the string on her back. Inside the doll's stomach was a lo-fi phonograph record activated by a metal coil. So basically, when you pulled the string on her back, she would say things like,
"Let's play school,"
and things like,
"I love you."
like normal doll things, you know what I mean? And this was a revolutionary technology for that time, especially in the toy industry. They had never really seen anything like it. It was very similar to Teddy Ruxpin. They had never heard a talking teddy bear up until then. The doll was first released in stores and appeared in television commercials beginning in 1960. The doll was priced around $10, and it was supposed to be a 5-year-old girl that had blonde hair and a short bob style and blue eyes. Brunette and auburn-haired versions of the doll were introduced in 1962 and 1963. Chatty Cathy was on the market for 6 years and was the second most popular doll of the 1960s after Barbie. So Barbie was like the #1, which I'm not surprised about. Nothing replaces Barbie. After the success of Chatty Cathy, they came out with Chatty Baby in 1962 and Tiny Chatty Baby and Tiny Chatty Brother. So they created like her whole entire family, and they were all chatties. And this is actually where the term Chatty Cathy came from. It refers to a particularly talkative person. So someone might say like, "Oh, that girl over there, she's such a Chatty Cathy," which means you just don't stop talking. I didn't actually know that that phrase came from this doll. That's so interesting. And the character of Gabby Gabby in the 2019 film Toy Story 4 was inspired by Chatty Cathy, according to the director. I actually have not seen Toy Story 4. Is that bad? Alright, so now you know most of the history about this doll, let's get into the creepier side. As you can imagine, a talking doll that millions of people were buying had a downside. When something has batteries or is technology, it's bound to either break down or glitch. Many people were complaining that their Chatty Cathy would have this very low, creepy man's voice every once in a while, and it would completely spook any kid that was playing with it. I mean, I can't even imagine being a kid just playing with my Chatty Cathy and suddenly she's like,
"Play with me, give me food."
And other times kids would complain that their Chatty Cathy was talking to them in the middle of the night when they were supposed to be off, which is super weird because, as I said, in order for her to talk, you literally have to pull that string on her back. There's no other way of her talking. So it would be really hard for that to happen on its own, which is why it was spooking so many people. I mean, you can tell there's a trend in all my nostalgia videos that have to do with dolls or toys that talk. Glitches make them talk on their own. It's beyond, I don't even get it. So this doll was freaking people out so much that a TV show called Twilight Zone actually did a whole scary episode on this doll. And if you guys don't know what Twilight Zone is, it was a horror television series that ran from 1959 to 1964. Each episode presents a standalone story in which characters find themselves dealing with often disturbing or unusual events, an experience described as entering the Twilight Zone. This show really reminds me of shows like Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's like every episode is a different creepy story. For example, this Twilight Zone show had episodes about creepy hitchhikers, alternate dimensions, mysterious phone calls, ventriloquist dummies, monsters, they had everything. And one episode was inspired by the Chatty Cathy doll, and that episode was called The Living Doll. It was said to be one of the scariest Twilight Zone episodes ever made in history, especially because the Chatty Cathy doll was so popular, so everyone had one. So I'm gonna summarize what this episode was about because it's so creepy. There's this little girl named Christy in this episode who really wants a wind-up doll named Talkie Tina. And as you can imagine, the name Talkie Tina was inspired by Chatty Cathy. So Christy's mom buys her this doll, and the doll's catchphrase is, "My name is Talkie Tina, and I love you very much." And basically everything she says are the same things that Chatty Cathy says. Now this is where the story gets a little bit weird. Now, Christy's mom recently remarried this man named Eric, and him and Christy don't get along at all, and it's mostly because Eric doesn't make any effort with her because she's not his real child, which is really sad and dumb. So because Eric doesn't like Christy, that means that Christy's doll didn't like Eric. So whenever Eric pulled the string on Talkie Tina, she would say things like,
I don't like you at all.
which obviously she was not programmed to say. So he places the doll in the trash can in the garage, but then he receives a phone call, picks it up, and it's literally the doll's voice talking to him.
I'm gonna get you.
So he runs upstairs and finds the doll in bed with Christy. So he attempts to destroy the doll using a blowtorch, but that doesn't work. So he ties her up in a burlap sack, attaches a brick to it, and then puts her back in the garbage, hoping she would stay there. But later that night, he's woken up by some strange noises. He gets out of bed, he runs down the stairs, but sitting on the stairs is Talkie Tina, and he trips over her and falls down and dies. So the mother runs towards him and sees Talkie Tina lying beside his body. She picks up the doll and she says,
My name is Talkie Tina, and you'd better be nice to me.
and that's basically how the episode